Hey you guys, it's your girl T, and I want to go ahead and shout out KRS1_92 on Twitter. Him and a lot of people wanted me to do a video on the whole Ray Rice situation. As you guys know, I've covered this situation on my channel. I talked about when Stephen suspended and, just everything that's been going on with domestic violence in our society. So now TMZ basically bought the video footage from the hotel, and it shows a full attack on Janay. And once this video went viral on the internet, folks started attacking the commissioner, the NFL, Ray Rice. It was just insane, and you can clearly see him and Janay getting into it. Folks are saying that he spit on her. Other folks are saying that she spit on him, and she clearly hit him back, but the way that he hit her was just all the way out of pocket. It's like he knocked her out, and then she hit her head on the railing, and she was out for the count. The video was just really, really eerie to look at, and then the fact that he just did not seem too concerned or too passionate, like, oh my God, what did I do? He didn't seem like scared. I'd be scared if I knocked somebody out, and I'd probably be in there crying right alongside them, like, what the hell? But it's like he kind of kicked her, and he kind of like, just tried to shake her up, like, wake up, like, what's up, get up. And then he just kind of drug her into the hallway. It was just really, really disturbing to watch. So, once this video went viral, like I said, everybody on Twitter had an opinion. The memes came. Folks were going off. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of these memes, and I'll come back with the rest of my commentary. Alright, so you guys just saw some of the comments and the memes that were posted on Twitter. So soon afterwards, the Baltimore Ravens sent out the following tweet basically saying that Ray Rice has lost his job. He's now terminated. And I'm also hearing that he can never get another job with the NFL, period, point blank. So the whole situation was just a mess, and a lot of folks had lots of things to say. Some folks are saying, you know what, this is just too much. Why are we letting TMZ dictate what should be done? So it caused a lot of controversy, and it's still causing a lot of controversy to this day. So a lot of things bother me with that video, not just the whole domestic abuse part of it, but also the fact that I don't understand why the NFL and the Ravens are acting brand new. When the first video footage came out of him dragging her out of the hotel room, where she looked lifeless, dragging her out of the elevator where she looked lifeless, it's almost like they try to cover that up. They're like, well, he's a good kid, things happen, and they just gave him like that 2-game suspension, and that was it. But my thing is, if she's knocked out like that, obviously something happened in the elevator. I think if they would have handled the situation more severely the first time, then folks would have been like, okay, fine, we understood that something happened, now it's out, no big deal. But now that this video footage came out, that's what caused the uproar to go back up again. Even though this whole situation and this whole video, the initial video, had been floating around for months. Also disturbing that TMZ can put out a video footage and it causes people to get up and do their job that they should have done in the first place. And another thing is Obama also spoke about the whole situation. He sent out the following message kind of concerning domestic violence. So go ahead and check this out. Alright, so you guys just read Obama's message, and when he posted that message, a lot of folks were saying, okay, funny how you can talk about this, all this shit came out yesterday, you had so much to say about this, but the whole Mike Brown situation, it took you almost a week and a half before you spoke on that. Well, at least he's speaking out on it. At least he's, addressing domestic violence, because I feel like a lot of times it does get swept under the rug. Now, another thing that also bothers me with this situation is the fact that Janay Rice decided to marry this man a month after that. You know, she married him, and to me and to a lot of people, it looked like she's a gold digger. You know, because why would you allow somebody to whoop your ass like that, knock you unconscious, and then a month later you marry them? But upon further investigation, I learned that she didn't just meet this man, you know, in the past year. They were high school sweethearts. She's known them forever. And so I'm thinking that might have played a part in why she decided to stay. But what really bothered me today is the fact that she decided to address the issue via Instagram. So I'm going to go ahead and post what she wrote on Instagram. And a lot of folks are taking this so many different ways. A lot of people are really upset by this. Go ahead and check out what she wrote, and I'll come back with the rest of my commentary. So you guys just read her post, and when I read her post, it really hit me. A lot of things bother me with that post. Not only do I see a hurt woman, a lot of things bother me with that post. The whole gold digger thing kind of just went out the window for me, at least for this moment in time. A lot of things really bothered me. She made a comment in that post where she stated, if your intentions were to hurt, embarrass us, and make us feel alone, and take away everything that we've worked for, then you've succeeded. You know, and it's almost like she's blaming the media. She's blaming TMZ for putting this video out there. But my thing is, your husband's intentions were to hurt you that day. You know, your husband's intentions was to knock you out for whatever reason. I don't know what the argument was about, but he put his hands on you like a damn man. This man is a football player. He knocked you smooth out in that elevator. And not only did you marry him a month later, you're taking up for him here. You're blaming the media for this situation as opposed to blaming the person who knocked you out cold. And then she made a real disturbing comment as well. She stated this. She made a real disturbing comment about how she feels like she's mourning her husband and her best friend. My thing is this, Janaya, you're lucky that you woke up from that head injury, because so many people in America have hit their heads, you know, sometimes to no fault of their own. They might have slipped and fallen in the bathtub and hit their head on the edge of the tub. Some people get into fights, they hit their heads and they don't wake up. So you hit your head on something, you were knocked out cold. While you're trying to mourn your husband's career and his money, the sad part is your mom, your family, your daughter, and your friends could have been mourning the death of you when you hit your head in that elevator. You know, what I see here, I don't even see so much a gold digger like a lot of folks have been saying. I see a woman who's exhibiting signs of just typical abuse. I see an abused woman, a battered, abused woman. And sometimes we look at situations and we feel like, you know what, they're rich, they're famous, you know, he's an NFL player, she's a beautiful woman, and we think that everything is so perfect. That's why I always say, never envy anybody, never envy anybody's situation, because the grass is always green on the other side. Everything looks so clear and pristine from the top of the ocean, but then once you get down below, you see all that muck and everything else. That's why you never get jealous of anybody's situation, because you never know what's really going on. And so many times we see women, they're beautiful brides and they're married, and behind the scenes they're getting their asses whooped. And this picture right here paints a perfect picture of that. So my thing is with Janay, instead of her blaming the media and being upset at, you know, people having opinions, because she cussed out a few people on Instagram as well. Here goes another one of her comments. Instead of her being upset, she needs to be upset with Ray. You know, she needs to stop blaming herself for this situation. I think right now what needs to be done, instead of everybody weighing in and, you know, going off on her and cussing her out or cussing him out, I think their families, their parents need to come together. Both of these people need to be watched. I really believe that. Because right now, I'm sure this dude, he has anger issues. So right now, he's pissed. He done lost his livelihood, his reputation, his job, everything. Everything he's worked so hard for is gone. And that's his own fault. You know what I'm saying? That's his own fault. But he's lost all that because he didn't have any emotional self-control. He didn't have any control to just walk away from the situation. So my thing is, they both need to be watched. Because what I don't want to hear is a week from now, if there's been a murder-suicide. You know, how many times have we seen things like that where people are so upset, so angry, you know, they're under a microscope. They end up either killing themselves or killing their loved ones, killing their children. You know, so I think right now their family really needs to gather around them and be their support system. Because the internet is such a negative place. People are always going to have something crazy to say. And everybody's allowed their opinion. But I think Janay needs to log off the net. I think, you know, he needs to log off the net. If they're truly trying to stay together and work on this marriage, then they need severe counseling. They really do. Because what I saw in that elevator was really, really disturbing. And some things, you know, you can work through, and other things you can't work through. You know, but I just find the whole situation just really, really sad. And the way she's defending him just kind of, you know, it kind of made me sad, because I'm just like, it would, you know, a lot of people saying, oh, she's just defending him because she wants his money. She's a gold digger. But the words that she was saying, it was a little bit deeper than that. We happen to see what he did with the camera there. Who knows what may happen inside their home with just the two of them. So the whole situation is just really sad. It's very, very unfortunate this is playing out in the public. You know, it has to be even harder because now they're under public scrutiny. And I hope for both their sakes, for Ray's sake and for Janay's sake, that their daughter learns from this and that she doesn't find herself in a cycle of abuse. Domestic violence can truly get worse before it ever gets better. So, you know, learn from other people's mistakes. And if you're in that situation, get out, because a lot of times it's not a joke, and there are so many women out here around the country who are dying in these relationships, trying to keep everything together and put on a facade and act like everything's okay, and you know, he just hit me one time, it'll get better, and a lot of times it doesn't. So that's my message to anybody in a domestic violence situation. Get out. It's just not worth it. So anyways, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this entire situation. How do you feel about what Ray Rice did in that elevator? How do you feel about the NFL basically giving him the axe, you know, now after that footage has come out, but then before they weren't really saying anything? And then how do you also feel about Janay's message to everybody on Instagram? So go ahead and leave a comment. All right. Deuces.